Hello YouTube, it is Lucid Alvar here today with another video on Kenshi, and today we're actually going to be talking about, so many things. But before we get into it, I do want to say that I am going to be live streaming my Let's Plays on Tuesdays and Thursdays for sure. You may get some extra days where I do decide to do it, but the live streams are always going to be 2 hours long, and you can catch them between 12 to 3 p.m. Pacific time, which is when I will be starting them. But without further ado, let's get into this beginner's guide for you guys. Hopefully you enjoy. Remember to leave a like, subscribe, and let's get straight into it. So let's get into this first one right here, and the first one was left by our boy El Gasso. El Gasso says, get a toothpick and learn how to kite melee attacks. And I replied to him, how would you kite them? And he says, so melee attacks have an animation, and when they end their animation, they deal damage to a target in a specific area determined to the start of the animation. If the melee attacker breaks the animation by moving, then damage won't be dealt, and if the target moves out of that area during the animation, they won't take any damage. Which, this means that if someone runs up to you and starts a melee wind-up, you can move your character out of the way before you get hit, and you won't take damage. If you get it at just the right time, they'll be stuck in the animation while you skedaddle out of the danger zone. By doing this, crossbow characters can move a little bit away, like maybe about 2 meters in game, and do a little bit of their reload or even fire while the enemy is readjusting. It takes time and a bit of practice, and it's harder to do the more enemies that are involved, but it's usually better than relying on your melee secondary. You can also use your kite melee characters. Like, you can also kite melee characters overall, but I never found it necessary or good at it unless I'm fighting big things who will both mess up your day and have ridiculously exaggerated attack animation so they're easy to kite. So pretty much this is a good way to go about it. For any beginner that wants to do a crossbow playthrough, this is really for you. This is the best way you could actually improve your crossbowmen without having them die early game and stuff. So pretty much kiting an enemy's attack is pretty simple. You just catch them in the animation and you just move out of the danger zone, pretty much is what this is explaining. And you're going to have to play on about 1 speed. You can't do it really on fast speed unless you're just some like fucking god at kiting enemies. So there is that. But I am also going to say that getting hit a bit isn't that bad, but if you're really just trying to train up your crossbowman and, you're not really trying to increase any other stat, like, his melee attack or defense or something like that, then, this is probably the best thing you could do. But let's get into the next one. The next one is going to be by 90 Girl. Find a giraffe with a big shell, look around to find its nest, steal its valuable lightweight eggs, and run. They're very slow, and you can sell the eggs for easy profit in the early game. And then a Comfortable Sardine replies to this saying, what 90 said, and also buy drugs. Lots of drugs, then head to the east and sell it off for big bucks. Buy a load of slaves and attack a random bandit base or a small town. So, this sounds pretty good. Overall, this is a pretty good strategy. So, if you guys are more up towards the riskier playstyle, this really could fit you. So if you're a beginner and you do want to make money early, the giraffe thing with the big shell is pretty much what we call a beak thing. And that pretty much how she explained it is how they look. You can find them in the vein. I'll throw up a map right here with the vein circled. I will do that right here so you guys can see what I am talking about. So, they're very slow. As far as them being slow, I would say kind of and kind of no. I mean, they could get pretty fast, but unless your character has really good athletics, then I don't really think they're going to catch you. But, there's still a chance that they might catch you, so just make sure to run in a zigzag line if they're right behind you. As long as you run to any city, I think you should be good because the guards will auto-attack them. And as far as selling the eggs for profit, it goes really well. I think you make about 3,000 to 6,000 cats per egg, so it's not really that bad, and you can buy a lot of stuff with that much money. You can buy better stuff for yourself. You can also recruit more people to help you, and you can also, go back to that place and just keep farming up money till you get to the amount of money that you want. Now, as far as buying drugs goes, this is a little bit where I will say you're going to have a good character. And what I mean by a good character is a character that can make it across the map easily. Because you have to either go through Skimmer's Land, which I will mark up here on the same map, or you will have to go through the other side of the map, which I am pretty sure, if I remember correctly, is the Shrieking Forest, the Bone Fields, and like, I think Venge, if I remember correctly right off the top of my head, but I will draw like a little route in the map, and I'll show you guys that right here. So pretty much you have to have somebody who can either do this, and as far as that goes, that takes a lot of time, and not really time, just it takes some time and effort to do it. And if you're just trying to make money quick, then just selling the eggs is way better than, you know, buying the hashish, which is the drug in the game. It goes really cheap on the east side or on the west side, because it does, like, you know, it does grow there, so there is a lot, like, it's not as expensive as on the east. When you take it to the east, you make a shit ton of profit because it is a lot more rare over there and it's a lot more valuable. Now, as far as the next three go, so the next three, I'm gonna kind of loop them all together. It's by Miss Soup Baby, Ellis the Drunk, Retaker, and Apprehensive Bake. So they all say that, you know, getting enslaved and training is the best. Now, let me explain to you guys how this and, like, all of our opinions are kind of the same on this. We all think that this is the best way to learn the game. I personally think it really is. It shows you how to lockpick. It shows you how to gain toughness, labor, how to be, like, pretty much how to do anything that the slavers will want you to do. And it is really, it's a really good start. Don't get me wrong. It is a fucking fantastic start. But, you know, it does have its downsides, but let me get to its upsides. So the first upside is that you get free healthcare. Wow, could you believe that? Free healthcare somewhere, huh? But, you know, the free healthcare you get, you could pretty much abuse it, because you could just go attack the slavers, get your toughness up, get your stats up, and, you know, the stats that you will be increasing by doing this is toughness, dodging, martial arts, and melee attack and defense, which is actually really good. And you could do this all the way up to, like, you know, maybe toughness 90, or once you start fucking knocking out the guards because you're getting too strong. And that's pretty much how far you can go with this, which isn't really a bad way, because once you do this, you are going to get healed once you get down by the guards. They're not going to let a fucking slave die on their watch, so, you know, you're going to be pretty much good. And the only bad thing about it is that if you do the slave start, which is the start with the unmodded start, you would have to escape from Rebirth. I mean, the Rebirth is one of the hardest places. Like, it's not really hard to escape from it, but it's, like, pretty difficult in its own mean. And it's going to be difficult to escape from there. And the fact that you're going to be running to pretty much an area where high-level enemies are going to be filled with. And, I mean, you could run into the floats of ninjas, which you could ally yourself with, which would help. But overall, this right here, the slave start, isn't a bad idea. So letting yourself get enslaved wouldn't be a bad idea. Hold up. Alright, so the next one is Time with Ren. So Time with Ren gives us a whole bullet list of what to do. He says, steer clear of any fights unless that you're sure that you'll win or at least be able to escape. You can join in guards that are fighting bandits for early combat sets in a relatively safe manner. Do not mess with the goats, they are ruthless. Check the weapon's weight. You'll need roughly double the strength to wield properly. I'll talk about this point on the next one, because the next one kind of gets deeper into this. If you see a giraffe in the distance, run. If they're chasing you, run in a zigzag pattern. If you have a skeleton in your squad, steer clear of the Holy Nation territory, which I will show you on the map right here as I am reading the next one. Getting beat up is a great way to gain toughness and melee defense. Just keep a person on standby and at a safe distance to rush in and heal everyone after the dust is settled. So, pretty much, this is the best way to probably level up your character without the slave start. So this right here is a good list if you're just looking for a generic, you know, wanderer start type of thing. So this would be actually pretty good. And a lot of the things he says are really good. Like, you know, fighting with the guards is a really good thing. If they're fighting bandits or river raptors or some type of wildlife that isn't that strong, or humans that are not that strong, then, you know, you can hop in with them. But if they're fighting like real bandits and real strong people, I would suggest not fighting in it, because you will get messed up and they will not pick you up. So this is pretty much if they're fighting like starving vagrants, which are in the United Cities, or starving bandits, which are in the Holy Nation lands. And the next one is do not mess with goats. Okay, just overall do not mess with any wildlife. They will fuck you up internally when you're, you know, at a low level. So that I agree. Check a weapon's weight. So we'll talk about the strength thing next one because the next one goes kind of in deep, but just know that, you know, you're gonna need a certain amount of strength to wield the weapon properly. And then if you see a giraffe in the distance, run in a zigzag pattern. This really works, and it is a really effective way of getting away from them. And if you have a skeleton in your squad, steer clear of the Holy Nation's territory. And the only reason I'll say that you have to is because the Holy Nation hates skeletons with their entire heart. They'll attack them on sight and they'll take them to rebirth, which is a good way if you're a skeleton, which is a good way of getting enslaved and, you know, getting beat up and having to get repaired and everything. And then when he says getting beat up is a great way to gain toughness and melee defense, just keep a person on standby. This is really the best way to do it. Like, you know, go and fighting things, but I think the best way to do it is, like, you know, pretty much hiring mercenaries and having mercenaries just follow you around and you can fight people and then, you know, get knocked out, get picked right back up by the mercenaries, which is really, really nice. So the next one, Be Frozen, talks about pretty much the strength requirement that I was talking about. So experiment, play the game, learn before you commit to a playthrough. If you're stuck, ask how to overcome an obstacle. And it says, P.S. Stick to lighter weapons. There's strength requirements, so you might be better off with a shit quality katana than some epic quality heavy weapon. Even if the damage is 10 to 15 times higher, you will get nowhere if you can't even lift a damn thing. So, and then he replies to pretty much this, and he says, you know, the actual strength requirement is 2 times the weapon's weight or 40 times the blend damage of a weapon, whichever is higher. For most weapons, it is the same value. Katana has no blend damage, so it uses weight. For example, staff, despite low weight, has a really high strength requirement due to its blend damage. Same for both jitty weapons. Those should not be used unless you know what you are doing. So pretty much any weapons that are blunt, you can kind of throw out because you're gonna need a lot of strength to kind of use them pretty much effectively. And as far as, like, you know, a lot of people talk about, oh, you should get a Falling Sun. If you can't even use the Falling Sun properly right off the start, then don't get the Falling Sun, because it is literally one of the, like, swords that is always hyped up. But if your character cannot use it, just use a katana for a low game. And the reason the katana is actually really good is because it also increases your dexterity, which is actually a really good stat to increase too. It makes your attacks a bit faster and your defense a little bit faster. So the more you increase it, the more your attack and defense speed increases. And it is literally the best thing you can probably do. And katanas aren't even that bad overall either. You know, they could be really, really useful. So just make sure that you use a katana right off the start. It is my recommendation to, as, you know, like a player. I think the katana is probably one of the best weapons you can use star game. Like beginning game, that's the best one you can use. So next, for the last one, is Gags Make Bags. And he says, Wanderer Star, mine copper, grow cactus outside hub, buy shack in the hub, build a still, make rum, sell in the swamp for profit. Now, so in the swamp, they actually really like the, you know, the rum. So, you know, making rum is actually a really good idea. But it's just, you have to make sure after you mine the copper, I would say, you know, hire some, after you sell it, I would say hire some bodyguards, because if the hub is notorious for having dangerous people around, so as long as you have mercenaries around with you watching your back, you could know that you're hitting this copper and you're safe. You're not gonna get knocked out from behind. You know, nothing like no random like wolf is just gonna run up to you and fucking gash your chest and you're gonna be bleeding out to death. You're gonna be like, well, fuck, I have to start a new playthrough or save scum. These mercenaries, even if you do get down, will always heal you and bring you back up. So, you know, you don't have to worry about that as far as that goes. And as far as everything else goes with what he said, I mean, I would say, you know, mercenaries first, buy the house in the hub second, go to the Holy Nation lands and buy a Holy Flame, and then buy the stuff to make the farm, because they have holy farms over there. So just buy the cactus over there if they sell any cactus, or buy the cactus from the hub, or Squin, or Amdag, or Way Station, which are places in kind of south, you know, of the hub. And, you know, you can buy them there, and then you can just grow it there, and, you know, you'll be set, because the Holy Nation will come and do prayer days and stuff like that, just to, you know, make sure that you're with them. But without anything further ado, that is the video. Hopefully this helps any newcomers that decided to watch this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll also leave my Discord down in the link below if you guys do want to join it. Peace.